Hello everyone, Kerry the Craft here, that's C-E-R-I the Crafter, and welcome to part 2. Now, this is part 2 of a series of videos which is a swap and make project with Mariah from PM Artist Studio. If you haven't seen part 1, it's linked below, as will be any other videos in this. I should imagine this is possibly going to be a 3-video series. Depends on how far I go. It could become 4, but I think 3 is probably what I'm aiming for. So, all of my collage stuff is now done. I am quite happy how that heavy gel medium worked. It feels like it's all nicely coated. It's all stuck down. I was thinking when this was drying too, in the final piece, if any of these are still exposed, I could always come in and doodle them and enhance them in that way. Just a thought anyway. So we're now coming on to what I'm going to regard as the exciting bit. We're going to start adding some colour. Now, over there I've got all of my acrylic paints, and I've also got a tub of white gesso here, which I'm going to use instead of white. And I want to smear on here, and I'm going to use a palette knife. Don't know which palette knife. I could even use something like a card as well to put colour on here randomly. Once that's done, we're going to have to pause the video for a few seconds to dry it, flip it over, and we'll do the other side. So nothing rocket science there, but you can see where I'm going with this. It'll just add to the surprise. Right? Bit of a sticky mat here. Let's just get on with this. So I'm going to put little bits of colour. I don't want to go overboard. And what I'm going to do is the colours that I use, I'm going to put up here so that when I turn it over, I can actually use the other side as well. So a palette knife is going to do a couple of things for me. It's going to give me an uneven paint line, as you can see, and also it's going to give me bits of texture. Now, I don't want to go overboard. I don't want to do a huge amount of everything, but I do want this to be bright and colourful, because it's kind of spring, really, for me, this. So there's a bit of gunk on there already. Don't know where that came from. So, right, I've got that green down. Let's add another green. I've got this one, which is a bit darker, I believe. Not a huge amount, but a bit like, almost like Hauser green. Yeah, it's interesting to see how this is going to turn out, because I've never done this before. And as subscribers of my channel will know, I'm trying to be a bit more free, a bit less controlling with the way I actually work within mixed media. So all an experiment. That's what I'm trying to get at. It's all an experiment. Right, so I've got blotches on there. Right, before I go to the next colour, I'm going to bring in some white. Now, I'm just going to use my finger for this, because why do anything else? And what I want to do is I want to come in and blend some of those edges. I don't mind sharp edges, but I would like to have a little bit of a fade here and there of the colours, so it's not so stark. Once I've done both sides, I will probably do some stenciling, and I will probably do some stamping as well. So I'm going to try not do too much on this one edge, because I do need to hinge these, and I want to make sure that high speed, that medium will probably do it. I was going to say, I want to make sure that things are going to stick. They probably will. So, right. I think that's enough of that for this moment. Where's that damn cloth gone? Right. I think, do I want to dry these in between times? I might want to dry them, do you think? Because I think that's enough. It's just enough to take the real wetness off it. Let's get that off my palette knife so that I'm not contaminating my next covers. Right. So we're thinking spring. I'm probably going to use some reflective or some shimmer type stuff as well in this. So let's bring in some pink, right? This is a really pale pink, if I remember right. Yeah, it's a really pale pink, but that's actually not a problem. I can always darken it if I need. I just want to put some stuff into this to add interest. Now there are going to be covers front and back, which we'll be doing, purely because I want to just protect the contents of this. What is this going to be called? My mini accordion art journal. Let's call it a mini accordion art journal. There you go. That's a mouthful and a half. Right, I want something with a bit more punch now. And I've got this mixed bottle, but this I believe has got some pearlization in it. In fact, it's definitely got some pearlization in it. And I think I'm going to change to my other palette knife, which is an offset palette knife. Oh, that's a nice colour. I'm liking that. So it's going to be interesting to see what Miranda, who the heck is Miranda? Mariah does with the stuff I've sent her. Although I am slightly worried because at the time of filming this, Mariah still hasn't received hers. And I sent it at least 3 weeks ago now. I'm going to be very upset if it gets lost in the post, because I thought quite long and hard about putting stuff in to that package. I think there's enough of that. I don't want to do more than that. I can leave that there because we're going to do the other side anyway. So yes, I'll be slightly upset. Well, I'll be very upset if it goes missing. But hey ho, it's the way of the world. Right, this needs a bit of a hairdryer, so bear with me for 2 seconds. I think that's enough of that. Right, I'm going to come in now with my store card or plastic card, and I'm just going to put some streaks of white into this. This will blend things together a bit. Also, it catches on the edges of the collage papers, so that's going to add a little bit of extra interest as well. Now, I do know I'm going to be using tissue paper in this. I do know I'm going to be using stencils. I do know I'm going to be using stuff, really. Now, I don't know whether there's anything I really want to put into this. I've got to remember that this is just the beginning of it. I mean, I could go to town and try and do the whole thing, but I don't think I will. Right, there's going to be flowers on this. There's going to be stenciling. There's going to be stamping. I think I just want to take that bit down a bit there because, yeah, it's nice, but it's too in your face. Right, I think what I'm going to do, guys, bear with me, is I'm actually going to turn the camera off now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fully dry this, flip it over and work on the other side. So there you go, it didn't take long. I mean, it's only a really thin covering of paint. So let's flip this over and repeat the process. Let's get the lighter green down. I'm doing this just for continuity because the pages are all going to be next to each other. And I'd quite like to make sure that they look like a whole project and not just bits stuck here and there. I mean, I'm hoping that all the pages are going to have a uniqueness of their own, should we say. Let's get the darker green in. I'm not overly concerned by things being matchy-matchy. That's definitely not my intent. But I would like some coherence throughout the whole mini accordion art journal. That's going to be a mouthful, I can tell you. Making a rod for my own back, calling it that, I feel. Right. Well, putting the matte medium down has definitely meant that I've not got any bleed from the colouring book pages, which was a slight concern of mine. As I go come in with the white now, which was a slight concern of mine because obviously it's a colouring book, which I'm assuming meant it would be for things like pencils or crayons, or I suppose it could have been for ink markers, but I doubt that because the paper didn't feel like any ink markers on that. I feel just would have gone through to the other side and bled through terribly. So there. I think there's enough of that. Right, I'm going to be risky and I'm not going to dry it this time. I'm just going to try it and not do it. Let's go to the light pink. I think I've got enough of the dark pink already down, so I can't see me needing to renew that supply. Now I'm kind of beginning, as I'm doing this, to think about what colouring I want stamping to be in, or stencil work. I think I'd like to add some metallics in at some point, but I'm not sure metallics is what I want to start with. Right, I got that. Now let's go in. If I remember right, my next stage was getting some of white across it. Try not to make mud, which would be very easy to do. I think I need to stop there, or that is going to become mud. Right. What do I need to do now? Right. I need to, sorry, just cleaning stuff off while I'm thinking. I think at this point, I'm going to stop the camera again and thoroughly dry all of this. And then we're going to come in and we're going to do some stamping. So I need to dig out my 5x7 gel plate because I'm going to stamp in acrylic paints to do this. So back in 2 seconds, guys. So I'm back, it's dry. Now I have got some concerns that parts of this, like here, possibly here, and definitely down there, I'm beginning to lose the vibrancy, begin to look like mud. So I'm going to rectify that before I go into stamping. I've got my 5x7 gel plate. I've got my my 4-inch speedball brayer, and I'm going to come back in with some white, and I'm going to re-establish some white. Right, this is almost an empty tube, so if it makes some disgusting noises, I apologize. Yeah, I'm almost out of this white. I've got a brand new tube. I just don't want to use it until I've actually got this one used up. So I'm going to load up my brayer. Not hugely. I just want a reasonable coat on it. And I'm going to just basically flick it over areas. Now, I think I'm safe enough to turn this over. It's a thin enough coat that it's not going to really stick. Yeah, I just wanted something because it was just looking a bit dark already, and I know we've got quite a bit to do on this, so I didn't want to get it too dark to start with. I think there needs a little bit as well. Right, I need to find something to mop that up with. What can I mop it up with? Let's grab a bit of tissue paper. And tissue paper, it might even be used in this project. I use tissue paper a lot for collage. Let's just get the majority of that off there. Let's leave that up the top for a second. I might use it to stamp the stamps off on, actually. That's another good thought. So, right, I have pulled out a selection of stamps. I'm not going to go through all of them because what I'll do is I'll tell you roughly what each one is as I use it, if I can remember it, because some of them will be parts of other sets and I'm not sure I'm going to remember everything. So I quite like, this is a stamp by Eddie. Eddie Makes Art. Can't remember what it's called. I will try my best, I promise, to put links to anything I use in the description box below, but bear with me because I don't think I'm going to remember what that is. I think I'd like to make this in some sort of yellow. And this is one of my favorites. It's cadmium yellow medium hue, and I like the vibrancy of this, and it's opaque. Okay, so just so I've got that on your radar. Right, I'm stamping with acrylics because I enjoy stamping with acrylics. So I'm just gonna brayer this out. Now, some people will brayer the stamp. I tend to just tap it down gently on there. I can see that there's some on there, and I will just come in and I'm not pressing too hard. I'm literally just making sure it's in contact with the surface below and stamping it. I'm just going to do it in random areas. As you can see, not overly bothered by where it is. I'm just putting in places. And to continue the theme, I'm going to do the same on this side, although I'm not trying to mimic the other side in any way, shape or form. I quite like this one, Eddie. This was a nice one. I think I want just a little bit in there. Right, this will then get stamped off onto this sheet of paper. And then what I'll do is that damp cloth you keep seeing me use, I'm going to lay this face down on the damp cloth, and that means that it will keep the paint moist. Right, I've got this on here, so let's pick this up. Who knows what this bit of tissue is going to become in the future. Just try to pick that off there. Any more on there? Yeah, there is a bit. So this is an interesting project. Mariah and I have been planning to do a swap and make for some time, but we both have incredibly busy schedules, and trying to find a time that suited us both to be able to, first of all, get together to organise it. I'm really liking that, actually. First of all, getting time to get together to organise it, and then secondly, getting time to actually do it was a big problem. Right, so I've got those on there. What's that? That's just a little bit of something. Right, I wanted to come in, and this is one of mine. I think it might be called something like Silly Circles or something like that, and I really fancy some of this in here. Now, looking at the colours, I'm trying to stay reasonably, what am I trying to say? Reasonably spring themed. Actually, before I do that, I think I'm going to put this to one side. I think I want to come in and do a little bit of stenciling before I do the layer of stamping over the top. So this is a stencil called Little Leaves. It comes in 3 different sizes, and it's one of my stencils. And I think that's what this needs. And I think I want to come in with a slightly darker green. Right, this colour here, forest green, is a bit of a bluey green, but I think I can live with that because it's not going to be massive amounts on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 2 different processes. I'm going to lay this on my plate. Can you see me? You can. And then I'm going to come in and press my page onto it in sections. Let's do that on the other side as well. There you go. Then I'm going to come in and actually take the stencil itself and do a ghost print onto here as well. I'm going to repeat, oh, I just lost my bit of tissue paper. It just flew off the back. Down into the windowsill, let's put it that way. Okay, liking that. I don't think I'm going to get any more off this. Let's not put any more with that. Let's just see if I can pick up some little tiny pieces on here. I'll just put green onto this. Okay, I think that's getting where I'm going, or it's going where I want it to go. Okay, so we're getting stuff there. There's that tissue. There you go, got your back. Right, so what I'm doing, if anyone who knows me, which if you're watching this, you may well know me, I like layers. So I'm basically building up a whole load of layers for a background. Now, I will eventually add some white over the top of this again, so some of this may well disappear into the background, but that's what makes it interesting for me. Right, so I'm liking that. That's going in the right direction. Do I want to do the white now? do I want to do the white now? I think I might do actually, just to all lose the vibrancy that I'm actually getting with this. Yeah, we might do, actually I know what we'll do. My old friend bubble wrap. I think I use bubble wrap in nearly every video I do with backgrounds. But there you go, there's nothing wrong with that. And I'm going to come in with white because, as I said, I want to keep this quite vibrant. Right, please, Mr. Tuber Paint, no disgusting noises. Oh, well, okay, we've got disgusting noises. And I've got a huge amount came out then, which is way more than I need. Let me just grab some of this kitchen towel. Right, I think I need to scoop some of that off and park it on the side for later, because I'll use it later, but I don't need that much to do what I'm doing now. We can always come back to that. So I'm just taking my brayer, rolling this out, and I'm using the bubble wrap as a stamp. And I'm going to come in and put it in areas where I think it's got a little blocky, like down here. And if anything comes off the bubble wrap from previous things, that's okay with me. I don't mind that. A little bit of that over here wouldn't do amiss. Let's flip this over. I am taking a little bit of a risk by flipping it over because it could easily stick to my work surface, but if I keep it moving, I should be fine. It's going to be fun decorating this, because remember, we are just building a background at the moment, guys. A background for the pages. Just get that bit right in there, right. So that's, I see, and some of the purple that's on there now has come off previous layers that were on the bubble wrap. So where's my thingy gone? Right. So we're back to this stamp now. I need to start thinking of the colours. I don't want to go to black, because black's probably going to be one of the last things I do. And that will define things too much. And once I've got black on there, I don't really want to go over the top of it with anything. So it's still looking quite spring. That was important to me. Now, what colour do I want on here? Purple actually looks quite good on here. I'm wondering whether... Let's have a look. I've got this purple, and it's Shuttle Art. It's a metallic. And I'm not 100% certain what it's going to stamp like, because some of these metallics kind of end up almost transparent when they're down. So let's see what it brays out like. Okay, it's not too bad. Let's see if I can pick up some of the bubbles and put them in here. Okay, that's subtle enough. I can do with that. Now, there's a really strong possibility I'll be doing more of this when the pages are actually pages. Again, stamp that off, leave that there. Let's get some of this off here. Right, I think I'm getting to the point where maybe we do need to add a little bit of black onto this now, because I'm feeling that for this stage, we're almost done. In fact, I'm absolutely certain for this stage, I'm almost done. So let's just clean this palette knife off. I will use that white up later. Now, I needed to clean this off as well. Oh, bad idea, Griffiths. Bad idea. Rolling on tissue when it's slightly tacky. That wasn't a good idea, but there you go. Right. So I wanted to add drama, and I absolutely love this set of stamps by PM Artist Studio. I believe it's called Nested Circles. In fact, it is called Nested Circles, right? I will use that one. And I've left the middle bit back in the box because I don't do that. I want to use this, and I want to use this. This is where I think I want to add some drama. Now, my gut instinct is saying use black. And I think I should. Or should I use brown? Brown might be an idea. I've got Van Dyke Brown, and that's as near black as brown is ever going to get as far as I'm concerned, but it is quite a bluey brown. And I don't mind using this. I wouldn't mind using it if it come out. There you go. So I think what we want, and I've got to remember that I don't need to do a huge amount. That's going to have to be my mantra with this, isn't it? Let's use the big one first. And I think if I just put 3 on each of these for no other reason, then I've got to remember things are being cut up. So if I just do 3 of each, I think that'll be okay there. Let's pop this over the other way. And without trying to duplicate the design, let's just do something different on this side. Right, put those on my damp cloth. Right, I think that's as much as I want to do with that at the moment. Right, I'm going to stop you for 2 seconds because I want to dry this off, clean that up, put that somewhere else, that white paint, so it's not wasted. And then I want to look at doing the covers while all of this is actually just drying off. So things are drying nicely. I'm actually quite pleased I didn't go for a thicker piece of paper because this is becoming quite rigid, which I'm really happy about. And remember, it's just a bit of brown wrapping paper and some of those pages from the colouring book, and I can still see elements through here. So it does mean if I wanted to bring them forward, I could. However, if they are seen, they make sense because it's floral. So let's just pop that out of the way. Right. Now, I have cut 2 pieces of card, and this card actually was the packaging that came with the last stencil order from PM Artist Studio. I save everything, me. And only save it and use it. I don't save it and hoard it. So I've cut 2 covers. So I've cut 5 inches tall by 3 3/4 inches wide, or 120 millimeters tall by 96 millimeters wide. Now I've done these measurements because that gives me a little bit of a border around the edges. So if you remember, the page size is going to be 4 3/4, so that gives me 1/4 inch, a little bit of margin top and bottom. And the width was 3.5, and I've cut this 3 1/4. So there's approximately going to be 1/8 around the edges. Now, I obviously don't want them like this. Now, one side is going to be stuck to the end of each of the pages. So if I can go back to where I put the other thing. Okay, so this is not the right size, as we know, this is a prototype, but one is going to be stuck on that end and one will be stuck on this end so that the book can open. Come on, Griffiths, get it together. It can be opened that way or it can be opened that way. But these are obviously meant for this size and not this size. So I need to cover these with something. I only need to cover the front and probably do a bit of a wrap around because the back is going to be covered by that. Now, a while ago, I did a swap there you go, February 2024. I did a swap with Patricia. Patricia is the P from PM Artist Studio. And she sent me some nice little goodies in here, which I'm going to put into the basket, put into the basket of stuff to be used for this project, because there's some birds in here. I'm not sure that I'm going to incorporate legs into it somehow, but there are pieces that I might use. So those will go into there. However, she sent me all of these, and I thought these are really nice, bright, springish type colours. So I'm going to collage the front of these, and then what I'll do is once they're fully collaged, I'll then wrap them around the edges. But I'm not going to leave them finished like this. I'm going to actually attach stuff to them or decorate them. I might put texture paste on the outside. I'm not putting it on the inside, remember. Now I'm just going to use my regular Liquitex matte, my Liquitex matte gel medium for this because I know that this works perfectly well. So let's have a little think. Now I don't have a huge amount of this, so I am going to be a bit careful about how much I use and where. So I come down here and take that off there. Now, any bit that stays exposed, I will obviously just, what am I going to do? I can paint over it or stamp over it. So let's just put some of this down on my mat. Keeping this old mat as a dirty mat was one of the best things I ever did. Right, do I want it that far down? Maybe I don't. Right, I'm trying to tear relatively straight because I don't know what I'm going to have to cover other than this. So I'm just going to come across enough, maybe just a bit lower. So I like this idea of a swap and make. I've seen other people do it. I've done it once or twice myself in the past. I think I need to do it more often, however. Right, now what I'm going to do is I want to be able to leave enough that I can fold over. So I'm just turning it over so I can actually see I've got enough to flip over the top there and definitely enough on the sides. Where's that card gone? Press this down. Now I don't want to show favoritism, so I'm going to swap from one to the other, just so if anything goes slightly wrong, I know that I've got enough pieces to work with. Which I might just put that one on as is. Let's tear this little bit off here. I like a torn edge with stuff like this, not necessarily because it might be seen, but because it's taken that layer of paper off the back. This bit here, the torn edge is thinner, so if I'm layering up, they may not necessarily cause bulk or cause me ridges. Now, I could easily have used double-sided tape for this, because you know I like a bit of double-sided tape for sticking covers and things on, but I thought, you know, let's go old school. Let's go and do this the way people are likely to be doing it. So, right, press that down. Where's the card gone? A little bit of a burnish down. Now, as this was done with acrylic paint, I won't need to seal this, because I know Pia's definitely done the job of covering it. Right, which bit do I really... I'll put that one on there. Which I quite like the idea. Oh, do I like the idea? No, because that's like that. Let's tear this down here. Remember, guys, you control the buttons, so if you want to fast forward, please go ahead and fast forward. Doesn't offend me in the slightest. I will never know. So let's put this down here, about there. Now, if I do get matte medium on top of the already painted stuff, it's not going to be a problem. And if I do have overlapping edges, I'm going to have to put something underneath it just to make sure that they stay friendly with each other, should we say. Right, that's down on there. Let's bring the other one in. Now, they don't have to look identical. They're not even going to be in the same ballpark. I'll tear that off there. I mean, it's going to be very difficult to see the front and the back without opening the whole book and bending it around on itself. Yes, I want that edge off there. Might need some more of that. In hindsight, I think I should probably have done this before I did before I did the painting, because any spare paint could have been used on the covers. But you know what? I know what the colours are. I can always reach back for them. Just making sure everything marries up with itself. And everything's got a good coating. Yeah, I'm looking forward to spring. Spring is one of my favourite. Well, I always say, for me, I'm a spring and an autumn person, or a spring and fall if you're American. Those are just the seasons I enjoy. I think a lot of it goes down to the fact that I don't really like heat. I'm not a hot weather person. I mean, without being too gross, I perspire quite easily. And sitting around in my own perspiration is not exactly something that's attractive to me. So I tend to avoid the absolute heat. So, but I mean, well, we don't have air conditioning in this house. In fact, there's not much air conditioning in Britain for a start. So, but yeah, that's probably why I liked America so much when I was over there for the hot weathers, because you guys know how to do air conditioning. And I can assure you, I like my air conditioning. I like the coolness of it. Right, let's bring this piece in. I think by doing it in this way, I'm not falling into the trap of repeating. And I don't mind that white edge along there either, purely because I can always wipe it over with something else and it will look very different, because the raw edge will pick up paint or ink or moisture differently to the painted surface. Right, let's bring you back in. Right, we need to be thinking of the last pieces now. I kind of like that there. Let's just take the edge off this. Yeah, I wasn't sure I was going to have enough pieces of this, which is why I'm doing it in this way, because I really thought I was going to run out. I'll take that down there. So I might layer up some of this. If I've got spare pieces, I can put blocks of colour on it. Without it being perfect shapes, I'll just tear the edges of things. I can put that down there. Do I want to put that down there? I think I want to take that off there. I think I'd like to put something in there. What have I got? Oh, I can't do green and green. I can do a piece of that though. I'm doing all this little bitty bits in honour of you, Mariah. Mariah likes to do little itsy bitsy things. Is that enough yet? Not quite. Up you come. I put that little bit down there. So I've gone quiet because I'm thinking, guys, it happens occasionally. I try not to do it too often. Yes, that's achieved what I wanted. If I bring that over so it's not a perfect line. I know that there are elements that Mariah has sent me that I can layer on top of these. Right, so that's the whole of that covered all the way around. That's good. Now I just need to do a little bit of a patchwork on here, and I was saving this piece because I like this piece. Which will be the front, which will be the back, doesn't matter, because the book will be completely reversible. So what is the front cover one day could be the back cover the next day. So it doesn't matter. What matters is what's outside and what's inside. And yes, I will be finishing the edges off, Mariah. I can hear you telling me already. Do I want that? What have I got little pieces wise? What's this? Oh, that's interesting. Oh, I might just put a piece of that up there. Just because I like the way that stands out. And then I'll put a strip down there. Don't want that. Keep being drawn back to this piece. And that's just enough to wrap around that corner. Right, so where am I at on the backs? Right, there's enough. there's enough to fold over all over. That's going to be a bit tight, but you know what? That's fine. Now, I've got some little extra pieces here. I'm still in shot. I am still in. I might want to put, like, there's a big expanse of something up there that could do with something. I just need to decide what the somethings are. Let's put the little bits up there just in case I get stuck. And I think I am actually going to put that up there, but it just needs tearing down. So we're at the point where I'll just finish off the backs of these. I'll fold over and show you how I do the corners and stuff. And I think we're at the point where this video is potentially ending. Because I want to let everything have as much drying time as possible. I like this one. As much drying time as possible before I start doing the other pieces. So I think we're going to call this the end. Well, once I do the backs, I'm going to call this the end of the video. And then we'll go on to video number 3, which is where we'll do the cutting, we'll do the folding, we'll do the assembly, we'll do all of those things, which I'm looking forward to. Right, 1, 2, I know it seems weird for me to be thinking in threes. Well, I think in threes a lot, but what I'm actually thinking in more than threes is actually triangles, which actually is threes, but I'm thinking that, there's the edge is there, right. I'd like to carry some designs down to edges and things. And I'm not overly bothered that those are lined up with each other. It's not something I would normally do. I'm just holding this up to the light. I don't know if you can see, but I can see the light through it. So that means I can see where things are in relationship. Right, this is all okay. This is okay. Is there anything in this pile that appeals to me? I'd really like to put this little bit of pink somewhere. You know, enough. Let's just stop that. Right, let's put those to one side. I'll put those back in the box of things that might get used later. Right, let's just push the matte medium to one side so I don't end up sticking my thumb in it. Right, these are slightly damp. So bear with me. I'm just going to stop the video and I'm going to dry them with a hairdryer. Okay, that didn't take long. I just wanted to make sure that they were dry enough because I'm now going to cut some stuff and I didn't want to cut something that's wet. So I'm just going to come in and I'm going to cut an angle right across the corner, just a straight line. It'll help me fold the corners over and miter them. And we will, if I remember, be dealing with the edges anyway. I'm more than likely to either paint them or maybe heat emboss them. I will finish off the edges because I do know it's a pet peeve of Patricia and Mariah at PM Artist Studio if people don't. Not that I'm feeling any pressure, of course, but I just thought it might be a nice thing to do. So let's take those little bits to one side. Now, what I have found in the past is actually fold your pieces before you glue them. And that is because you've then trained the fibers to know that they're going to fold. Well, that's the way I think about it anyway. And I find it's easier because the moment you start putting glue and stuff on these, then these tend to get a little bit messy. And then when we turn them over, we'll know what they look like. Right, I need a little bit more matte gel medium. Not a huge amount. Because as I said, the edges are going to be folded over enough that they're going to get caught underneath when the fronts and backs are glued down. So I'm just putting it on there. I'm going to come in with my little door key, my plastic card, and just work that down. Doesn't look like I got some under there. I did. Right. Oh, Biscuit's in the garden. He must have just had lunch. He's a creature of habit, literally. He has lunch, he goes in the garden, he barks at the neighbours just to let them know he still exists. And then what happens? He comes back in and goes back to sleep. Bless him. Oh, for the life, eh, Biscuit? Oh, for the life. No worries for our dog. He's never going to go hungry. He's never going to go cold. He's always going to be looked after and loved, because that's who we are. Now, I'm not worried about things like this in the corners. I'm absolutely not worried. I may come in and actually just do a little bit of paint on there. I could even use a Posca pen, anything like that if it was really, really bothering me. It's not. So that's one cover. Okay, I'm liking that. I think it was that way up, but not that it matters. It's interesting. That's one thing to be aware of when it comes to grey board, or I call it cardboard. Some people call it grey board. Can't remember what else they call it now in the States. What do they call it? Grey board. Chipboard. I think you guys call it chipboard. It sucks up medium really, really quickly. So, which is why I'm putting the medium on the pieces I'm folding over, not necessarily the chipboard or the grey board. I may have judged this just right as far as medium for once. That's not a usual occurrence to me. Last little bit. Right, and that's the other cover. Now, what I think I am going to do, because I know it's going to bug me, because I've seen it. If I hadn't seen it, it probably wouldn't have bugged me. These little areas here are going to annoy me. I've just decided they are. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull in paints that are basically within the same family. So, like this yellow is pretty close to that. If I do that, it's disappeared. Anywhere else do a dot of yellow? No one's going to come along and check, but for me, I just need something. Right, this here is sort of a brownish colour. This is, I don't know what colour this is, well, that might do it. It's okay, Biscuit, they know you're around, buddy, they know you're around. Let's do a little bit up here because I can blend it across to there. Right, I need a little bit of teal or turquoise. This is probably a little bit bright, but it's a dirty brush, so it might actually blend some of the previous colours in. There you go. And then just got some very pale pink down there, and as we know, I have a very pale pink. We've just used it on the other side. As I said, not 100% necessary, but the way my brain works, once I've seen it, I've seen it. Right, so that needs to fully dry. That needs to fully dry. This is getting there, but I can feel by the core of this that it's still a little bit damp. So the plan is, in the next video, we're going to fold this all, cut it, attach the front and back covers, and then we're going to do the fun bit. We're going to decorate. Now, the decoration of it is going to be, it will, when I see what the pages look like, and remember the pages are only small, I'm going to then decide whether I add stamping, whether I do some doodling. Mariah has sent me some little elements, like I know there were flies, there was little motifs, or for example, something like this would be the perfect size for the cover. Do you know what I mean? So little things that I've got. I do have a couple of foam stamped butterflies, and a foam stamp dragonfly, and the dragonfly would just about fit onto the cover. I'm not sure it would fit onto the one of the pages. And I have pulled out a couple of flower stamps from my border builders. I think this was something meadow. I'm so bad with names, guys. I'm so bad with names. So we've now got a good starting place for all this. I feel quite happy now. I think I will leave this dry overnight, and then I can think, what do I want to do next? So I will see you in number 3, guys. Remember, all links to previous videos and following videos will be in the description box below. See you next video.